let's talk about energy, should we, while we've been talking there about Saudi Arabia. We know that your boss has said that he's not going to have any more oil exploration in the North Sea. The unions are not at all happy about that, are they?
Well, look, I think the trade union leaders are entirely right to be holding us to account on our policy. I have dialogue with them. I was talking to Gary Smith only in recent weeks about precisely the concerns that he's raised, and he's right to stand up for his members' jobs. But what I would say, first of all, is in terms of the position on North Sea oil and gas, any new development that's given the go-ahead before we come to power for reasons of business certainty will continue. Obviously, we'll continue with the extraction that is currently taking place. But what we are saying is, not only for the drive to net zero, but also for value for money for the taxpayer, we're not going to then issue any new licenses. But we do have this extraordinarily ambitious green energy programme, our clean energy sprint, both to lower bills and indeed to give us energy security. And my message is that that is about jobs. That's about the green jobs of the future. That's why we're proposing to create GB Energy, to make sure that it's workers here in the UK that have those opportunities. So far from there being, if you like, this difference of opinion, we are on the same side. We want to make sure that we have those jobs here for workers in the UK in that transition.
Music to the ears of Dale Vince, who we know is a Labour supporter, also gives money to Just Stop Oil. Is it appropriate that Labour associates with someone that associates with a group like Just Stop Oil?
I think it's up to Dale Vince who else he wishes to give money to, but Dale Vince is somebody who is very successful business person, owns Forest Green Rovers, amongst other things. He's a perfectly legitimate donor that we should be taking money from. I make no apology for that whatsoever. The successful business person wants to give money to the Labour Party, but it can hardly be said that it's influenced our position on Just Stop Oil. Keir Starmer has spoken about injunctions to prevent what they're doing. Keir Starmer has also said his message to Just Stop Oil is to just go home, because what they're doing is entirely counterproductive. The only debate they seem to be promoting in the UK is about how tough our public order laws are, and they're not building that consensus that you need to tackle climate change across the UK.
So you are completely comfortable taking money from a bloke who also supports the group that disrupt general public's lives to the extent where they block ambulances of people who are trying to get to hospital?
Look, I'm comfortable with Labour taking money from a successful business person like Dale Vince. If he wishes to give money to other causes, that's entirely a matter for him as a private individual. Our position on Just Stop Oil is that their tactics are wrong and counterproductive, and nothing has stopped us being extremely robust in the views we've given on Just Stop Oil and the tough action that we think is necessary to stop the disruption that they're causing.
Labour wants nuclear power to be publicly owned. If each station costs, apparently on average, something like £33 billion to get off the ground, where do we get that money from?
Well, no, our position is, yes, that we are going to have a state-owned energy company in terms of GB Energy to drive the renewable transition, and nuclear has to be part of that mix. But we will want to attract a great deal of private investment as well. We're doing an extraordinary amount of business engagement now to ensure that we are building up that confidence in the business community to be able to work in partnership. And we're very confident about businesses working with us. But there's a real point here, because when the last Labour government left office, we'd identified 10 potential sites for nuclear power stations. Now, of course, it's true to say it takes a number of years to build a nuclear power station and get it on stream supplying energy. But the Conservatives have had 13 years, and on none of those sites is there actually now a functioning nuclear power station providing energy to our grid. That has to change, and nuclear has to be a central part now of our green energy transition that the next Labour government is determined to lead.
Some of the women who have accused Geraint Davis MP of sexual misconduct said they feared losing their jobs if they made a complaint. Sky News has seen evidence that suggests Labour whips knew about the allegations against Mr Davis months before. Do you recognise that?
Look, I don't know about the communication with the Whip's office, and I never saw any inappropriate behaviour myself. But I think the point you've raised in the question, Kay, is absolutely critical. Firstly, about people having the confidence to come forward, whether that's internally within the Labour Party complaint structure or indeed to Parliament. But I think it's also absolutely vital now that, having seen those extraordinarily worrying reports in Politico, that people have now come forward and made formal complaints, and we have to treat them now sensitively, extremely seriously, but above all, protect confidentiality, protect the identities of those people. And I think that's so critical going forward, because I want to be part of a parliament that has a different culture, but where there is, of course, this inappropriate behaviour, then we also need that robust system. And part of that system is about people with issues coming forward, having confidence in it. And I think that's why our treatment of this now going forward is so important.